Welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about the stimulus update for Sunday, October 18th. So there have been quite a few updates since my last talk on the stimulus on October 15th, and I just wanted to come and share it with you. If you are new to my channel, I am Tanya Taylor. I am the founder and CEO of Grow Your Wealth TV. And my channel focuses on everything personal finance. So credit, budget, debt, investing, and protecting that investment so that you can retire worry-free. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can be alerted when I post new contents on Fridays and on Sundays. Okay, so let's jump right in and talk about what is going on with the stimulus package. Are we going to see some sort of signed stimulus bill before the election? So here are some of the things that's happening. This morning, Nancy Pelosi was on ABC News and she actually gave a 48-hour deadline. Basically, she said that if they have not reached an agreement by the end of Tuesday, that she does not expect that there will be a signed stimulus package before the election. Before I get into the Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin agreement and disagreement, I wanted to highlight one of the things that also happened where Mitch McConnell put out this tweet on October 17th at 5:02. The tweet basically said, I just announced the Senate will vote next week on hundreds of billions of dollars for relief programs that Democrats do not even oppose. He went on to say working families have already waited too long for Speaker Pelosi's Marie Antoinette Act to stop, so let's make a law. He highlighted a total of 7 things that this bill would go towards funding. He talks about it funding more federally expanded unemployment benefits for laid off Americans, an entire second round of paycheck protection program, $100 billion to make schools safe for children, more testing, more tracing, and more funding for vaccine, and more funding to distribute the vaccine across the country. So that was very interesting when you compare it to the backdrop of some of the things that Nancy Pelosi talked about today. She talked about that although they had reached an agreement about the COVID piece of the bill, what the Republicans have basically done, instead of making the light amendment as they had discussed, they have taken, in her words, a chainsaw. In this tweet, Nancy Pelosi said the Trump administration must negotiate in good faith. They told us that they would put a light touch on our most recent proposal for testing and tracing. Instead, they took a chainsaw to the proposal, cutting more than half of the proposal. So while we thought that that issue was resolved, we now see that that's another thing that is being contended with because Nancy Pelosi believes that a lot of the wording changes that have been made, it's not true to what will be done. And so she does have concerns about that. So in her interview, George Stephanopoulos did ask her if she feels like this is a time where she should speak to Donald Trump. They have not spoken for over a year, and she felt that that's not necessary because he has sent his representative and this is not anything new, and therefore she does not necessarily feel like she needs to have a conversation with Donald Trump to resolve this. One of the other things that Nancy Pelosi shared, so one of the major sticking points for her is the earned income credit, which she talked about quite a bit. She also included it in the letter to her Democratic colleagues. And one of the things that she said was that because the White House is refusing to expand the child tax credit and child independent tax credit, as well as the earned income credit, this would really impact children who have basically been plunged into poverty. So some of the statistics out there is that poverty has grown by 6 million in the past 3 months, and benefits have been exhausted. So now total individuals that are in poverty are 8 million. And the proposal would help to reduce this kind of childhood poverty significantly. So what that would look like is that the money would be used to provide separation, ventilation, sanitation, as well as funding for teachers and support for staff to enable this to happen. She also talked about if children are not able to go to school, then parents are not able to go to work. So it's sort of like a trickle down effect. If they don't provide this benefit, it's not going to help holistically what's happening right now to a lot of people who have plunged into poverty. She does talk about being optimistic that they might be able to reach a deal, but I did also want to mention that Mnuchin is actually overseas. He's led a delegation over the past couple of days to the Middle East, and they have been talking by phone, But it's going to take some time as well for him to get back and for them to iron this out, which is why I think her putting that 48-hour deadline is important, because it kind of put a stake in the sand for people, for American people as well, to know what's happening with the stimulus check. Is there going to be one passed by the election? And she's saying if a deal is not done in 48 hours, and that translates to the end of the day Tuesday, the possibility of this bill being signed before the election is pretty much gone at this point in time, which does not mean that they will stop the negotiation. It just means that they would not have a deal before the election. So let's do a recap. So Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats proposed a $2.2 trillion stimulus bill. Donald Trump and some Republicans are supporting a $1.8 trillion stimulus bill. Mitch McConnell is putting forth a $500 billion stimulus bill. So Donald Trump said that he could go higher, and his economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, also said that he believes that Donald Trump will be able to convince enough Republicans to support a bill that's a little higher than the $1.8 trillion in order to get it passed. If you recall back a couple weeks ago, there was a bipartisan House caucus called the House Problem Solvers Caucus, and that is made up of 25 Republicans and 25 Democrats. They had released a framework which basically said that a $2 trillion package should be able to get the economy going. So based on all of these different numbers, the Mitch McConnell vote is just way out of place. And I recognize that that does not include all the different components, but the economy needs a lot more than that right now. So now we have the Democrat bill and the Republican bill, and right in the middle, we have the House caucus bill. So it would seem like if the Democrats are able to get to the $2 trillion, there could be a potential that this would get passed. One of the issues that have been argued, and I talked about it in my last video, was that if it gets over that 2 trillion, there might not be enough Republican to support it. So all those things that have to be factored in. But the bottom line at this point in time is that Nancy Pelosi has basically said, if we don't get this done in 48 hours, then there is a very high likelihood that it will not get passed before the election day, which is really 16 days away. But she is very hopeful that they will all come together and work together for the good of the American people. We will see, because this has been going on for quite some time now. People are hurting, and people can't wait for another couple of weeks, because most of them have already spent all the checks that they have received paying bills. And so if they're able to get that money in so that they could at least pay their rent and put some food on their table before the election, then that would be a great thing. I expect there to be a lot more discussion over the next 2 days. I will keep you posted. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can be updated on what's happening with the stimulus package. And my hope is that in the next 48 hours, they will be able to agree on this bill, and so that American people can really get the help that they deserve, and so that jobs could keep churning and the economy could keep moving. I'll see you in the next video.